So I've been hunting, since sports betting is legal now, I've been hunting the betting websites and trying to find out who to pitch for advertising, since, right now, if the getting's good. Did you say there were FanDuel slots on our website? I mean, FanDuel spots?
I don't remember.
Or DraftKings? Wasn't there one that you said that was...
On Podcorn? I don't remember what I said.
No. I mean, playing on our podcast.
Oh, yeah, one of them is. Maybe DraftKings?
Yeah, you guys, let us know what you're hearing. Well, you guys wouldn't have to sit through the spot. So well, anybody else, let us know what you're hearing mostly, if you want to. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I'm going to try to pitch these folks because right now they're spending a little money because Massachusetts, yada yada, and they've both got like the leadership of these places is very interesting. Who we are, and this is DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
Graham Walters is the chief people officer, and FanDuel also has a chief people officer.
Okay.
Which is just interesting to me. And the chief people officer, both chief people officers talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're really into it. They really make that known, including FanDuel. FanDuel's chief people officer is Trisha Alcamo.
Okay.
Trisha leads the company's human resources organization, inclusive of cultural development, talent acquisition, diversity, equity, and inclusion, organizational effectiveness, yada, yada, yada. And so does the other one. And it just tells you that this wokeness is embedded in these huge and exploding businesses. Yeah, it is everywhere.
Any big corporation is essentially like a wokeness machine now, too.
And why is that? Is that to give? Well, I assume actually with these, I assume because these people have to get through state legislatures and state regulators that they're being, especially in blue states, they're demanding that there be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so it's especially going to be in an industry like gambling where they do need to be on the good side of regulators. They want to prove that they're like good guys. That's why like BlackRock is doing it too and everything. But also all the people that populate the top echelons of these companies now have been to woke colleges or whatever. Like these are the elites, and that's the mores of the elites now, is this wokeness stuff. This is the outward signal, the having a Range Rover and a Canada Goose jacket or whatever else, that you're like one of the elite people, right?
Sure.
So all the executives at your company, they're all going to be into this. It's, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, but it's so counterproductive.
Yeah, but the type of people like that don't care about that.
Oh, it's so...
Especially if it's like an exploding business. I mean, if you're like the local car wash, you're not going to be doing that.
Right.
Or if you're, running a machine shop, you're not going to be doing that. Or if you're a big corporation that's struggling financially, you're not going to do that because you're focused on other stuff. But at these super big companies, whether that's in Silicon Valley, whether that's in New York City, at these like huge thriving companies where they have a ton of money, and they consider this like an employee service, basically. Like this is part of how the company spends their money, right? Just like they have snacks in the break room and like a fancy Christmas party, they also have like a big diversity initiative. This is part of what they do, and it's partly to attract employees who go to these elite schools and are part of this social class, but it's also to
oh my God.
But it's also to show what? Oh my God, what?
It's everywhere. Donna Morris, Executive Vice President, Chief People Officer, Walmart Inc.
Of course, it's everywhere.
It's incredible.
Of course it's everywhere. It's all over the place. All these companies have it. And it's funny because there was a thing like there was like a TikTok that went kind of viral where this girl was saying like, oh, if I see like pronouns on your resume, then I'm going to assume that you're a pain in the butt and like I'm not going to hire you because you're going to be more likely to sue. You're going to cause problems in the office, all this stuff. And all these people were like, yeah, like nobody wants it. But like those people are running the companies. So for like most of the companies. And there was like a big thing during even like the 2020 presidential election where people were like saying that, you know, Trump voters are actually rich and they are the elites and all this stuff. And that's like partially true. A lot of Trump voters are wealthy, but it's like a different type of wealthy. It tends to be like the small business owners.
Car dealerships.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And it's not these like executives at these big companies. It's a completely different culture, and those types of companies are completely populated with people like that. It's like with the schools. DeSantis can make the anti-wokeness bills, but you can't control, like, if all the people that you have in the school building are animated by the ideology, then you can make all the laws that you want. That ideology is still going to seep into everything.
Donna
and
is responsible for promoting diversity and inclusion.
It's the same at all these big companies. Like when the company is populated by people who are into this, like it's going to be everywhere. And it's not it doesn't seem to be resolved by a desire of the companies to be productive, unless you're in a company that is in financial trouble, or unless you're in a company that, you know, is small time enough, your margins are low enough. But like the big companies that are rolling in money, they're all like that 100% across the board. You know, even ones that you would think like the owners would be more, you know, the owners would be more like, say, Home Depot, right? They get a lot of flack because the people that own it tend to donate Republican, right? But compared to Lowe's, or I think like the LL Bean family tends to be conservative. I'm sure those companies also have robust diversity departments, right?
Claudine Naughton, Chief People Officer of Blizzard Activision. HR exec total pay $4,290,000 a year. Alan May, Chief People Officer, Hewlett Packard, made $4 million a year. This is incredible to me. Trey Skeens, who is the Chief Transformation and People Officer of Yum Brands, made $3.9 million. This is remarkable.
I can't believe you're surprised by this. This is everywhere. This is like every company.
Nikki Krusnamurthy, Senior Vice President and Chief People Officer, made $3.8 million for Uber.
Yeah, every big company that's rolling in money, they're all like this.
Apellis Pharmaceuticals, Lucia Salona, Chief People Officer, $3.7 million. Holy God.
I don't understand why you're surprised.
We had human resource managers when I was working. You know what? Let me just see. Odyssey.
I'm sure you do. Didn't you say you have a training to do this week?
I'm late on a bunch of trainings. It's not working. The page for me. Okay, let's see. Maybe we don't have a Chief People Officer. There's David Field. He's the heavy. Chief Accounting Officer, Chief Digital.
They might be in too much financial trouble to have a Chief People Officer. I mean, because that's what I'm saying is like, I think companies that are in trouble and cutting costs, this stuff does go. There were some complaints and, you know, even the tech industry has been laying off like crazy, right? There's been some complaints that the diversity people have like been one of the casualties of all the tech business layoffs. So, you know, it does end up on the chopping block, these initiatives, but there's a lot of companies that are doing really well.
You know who doesn't have one is Chief HR Officer is Penn National. Barstool. There we go.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm sure for I'm sure by the time they get done dealing with the state of Massachusetts, they'll have one. It's going to be Portnoy's going to be the chief people officer of.
Yeah.
My goodness. All right, Albie. All right.
All right.
I love it. By the way, let me just say something to you that may ring hollow to you. Maybe not. But I love having a beautiful chick in the house.
Thank you. That's nice.
It's really great.
Thank you.
It's one of the things that I always wanted, and I really appreciate that. 2, can you introduce the Burn Barrel family to my new friend Ryan?
Sure.
This guy, this is a letter written by a gentleman named Ryan, and it might be the most fantastic, brilliant thing. There are not words enough for the standing ovation that this gentleman should get.
Yeah. So, 2 days ago, Ryan had tweeted out that he was having to write one of those emails to his family. And then he revealed what he meant by that the next day. Yesterday, he wrote my letter, sent with prideful power. And this email is entitled, On the Importance of Family. His name's Ryan Short. He works for Nordstrom, which I didn't, dox him. That's, available in
There
his
is
profile.
a chance that he is the chief people officer.
I think he works in marketing, but
Okay.
anyway. He writes, On the Importance of Family. Hi, family.
This is to a bunch of members of his family.
Apparently,
This
yes.
is the letter that he sent. He's got the blacked out area to all the recipients.
Last night, on a phone call with Dad, he commented that he was a Republican. I asked, even after the Republicans are trying to recriminalize homosexuality across the USA? Yes, he said. What conversation did not go that way?
Well, right.
Yeah, I love that they're trying to recriminalize homosexuality across the USA. But whatever.
Let me tell you, the highlight of Ryan's dad's day was not that phone call.
So then Ryan continues on. As such, it is now necessary for a family email, in caps, so that expectations are set to everyone regardless of voting affiliation. Hear me clearly. You cannot vote for the GOP.
So this has become, by the way, an unscrolled proclamation.
Hear ye, hear
yes,
ye.
Exactly. Start with as such, please.
As such, it is now necessary for a family email so that expectations are set to everyone regardless of voting affiliation. It doesn't seem regardless of voting affiliation. It seems very much regarding voting affiliation. Hear me clearly. You cannot vote for the GOP and continue to have a relationship with me. No exceptions. I am inviting no dialogue, and I have no interest in nuance.
He's inviting no dialogue.
None.
This is a one-way communication.
Attacks in the USA by conservatives and literal Nazis against LGBTQ plus communities are growing in legislative bodies, online, and in public spaces. Texas leads the charge heartbreakingly. Source, ACLU.com.
Which is wonderful, obviously.
Because the ACLU is at ACLU.org. But
Right. Was the Southern Poverty Law Center.tv not also cited?
Apparently. You may be thinking, but Ryan, why are you disrupting the family over political disagreements?
First of all, the self-importance already of this guy reading his proclamation in the same tenor of these are the times that try men's souls. This is a line in the sand. This is the gavel is thrown here. The
gauntlet is thrown.
Gauntlet is thrown. Sorry, the gavel is. What does the gavel do?
I guess.
Banged. Whatever.
Bang a gavel. Yeah.
This is a shot across the bow to the family. This is a moment of.
He said, by the way, later that he had a great response to this.
High import. A very high import. While, by the way, he's making an airtight case for why people like his father will no longer be included in his life.
Right. Source,
be in
ACLU.com.
Exactly. Which, if you go to ACLU.com, they talk about how literal Nazis are trying to recriminalize homosexuality.
I don't even see. Okay, so because he just gives you ACLU.com, which redirects to ACLU.org, but he doesn't give you where to go on here to find the information.
But I have a question for you, Els. I have a question for you before we go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't assume I know he went to college.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Don't they teach critical thinking in college, right?
No. Lots of every idiot graduates from college.
If I was making
if you don't have it from your parents, you're screwed.
If I was making an argument in favor of gun rights,
right,
I would not cite and say
NRA.org.
Right, exactly. So why doesn't he know to do this? Why doesn't he know that it's not credible that he cites a place? And by the way, why does he?
Leftists
and why
think
does he
that
believe,
their sources
and also,
are
I would also know
neutral.
that the NRA is a pro-Second Amendment institution. It's also a pro-gun propaganda institution. They're in the guns are good business. So if I would always take whatever I read there with a grain of salt. These are the gun people, Of
course.
I've got no problem with them, but they're the gun people. So, I mean...
Right. If you want to know,
there is no more...
the case for the other side, you would look for that.
Well, right. And also, there's no... I wouldn't say, hey, guys, think about my rights and my liberties. The definitive only one-stop place to shop for those is the American Civil Liberties Union. It's all in the name. I wouldn't say, you can't debate guns with me. I get my information from the National Rifle Association. End of story. End of discussion. What is wrong with these people? By the way, this guy has a nose ring, not shocked, and a mustache. Absolutely not shocked.
Yeah, and his profile
says
at the top of it, his pinned tweet is, "My goal this year is to be a hot, dumb slut." So, I mean, just to let you know where he's at.
As such...
You may be thinking, but Ryan, why are you disrupting the family over political disagreements? Why the division?
What are they going to do this Thanksgiving without the hot, dumb slut
I know.
to lecture them for the entire meal?
Politics is arguing over the tax bracket margins, solving farmer subsidy shortages, addressing corporately supported poisoning of people, or debating the value of urban bike lanes. The safety and peace of me, my husband, and my community is baseline, non-negotiable, and unrelated to politics. Which is funny because the stuff that he's saying is important baseline rights that are being rolled back. And we've talked about this with Biden, are things that literally nobody believed were negotiable in the other direction up until 30 years ago.
Right.
They're completely newly invented things in the last couple decades. So don't tell me it's not politics, because politics completely changed this issue. But it's just, that's what they do, is they win their political fight, and then it becomes non-negotiable. Like Roe v. Wade. We got Roe v. Wade. Now this is a non-negotiable. We're just talking about women's basic rights.
50 years of precedent.
Yeah, you can't. Their stuff is never reversible. Their stuff only goes one direction. But that's in the name. It's progressive. It only goes one way. Nothing they do is ever politics or negotiable.
There's no literal Nazis doing anything, and nobody's trying to really criminalize homosexuality.
No, not at all.
Nothing is happening.
But DeSantis said, "Don't say gay."
But the problem is, the same way he goes to the ACLU, as the final arbiter of truth, he'll go to MSNBC and notice that some Republican senator in Mississippi somewhere wants to make being gay illegal again, and that means that state legislatures are trying to make being gay illegal again, and we're back to pre-Stonewall days.
Right, and on the ACLU it says 100 bills attacking transgender people have been introduced in state legislatures. All kinds of crazy stuff can get introduced in state legislatures.
But also attacking
citizens can introduce bills in state legislatures.
First of all, attacking transgender people. trying to pass a law so that a 55-year-old obese, untalented man can't shake his ass in front of a 4-year-old child is not attacking anybody.
Right.
There's a difference between attacking and defending. Taking umbrage with removing the healthy breasts of a 14-year-old girl is not radical. It's the only way to react in a civilization.
Well, yeah, and nobody would have argued with that up until extremely recently.
Right.
That would have been a totally normal
Yes.
standard to have. Was like, if people want to cut their healthy breasts off, like, at least let them wait till they're an adult to make a decision like that.
Right. And it's not it doesn't mean that literal Nazis are out there. Actually, it's actually literal Nazis are the only other group of organized people that I can think would probably be okay for the sake of experimentation to do that.
Right. Then he writes, but most importantly, this is our family. To vote GOP is to divide the family. I've been out the longest, but Jessica is one half of an amazing lesbian parenting duo, and Joe is a badass bisexual and figurehead in her neighborhood. That's half the siblings just there. And statistical probabilities are high that at least one of the grandkids are queer like us. And add in our two deceased gay uncles, an ab-fab sequined grandpa,
Jesus.
Cecil's bestie, Melissa, Ma's hairdresser, Michael, and more. It becomes clear that defending
Poor
queer...
Michael's like, I'm just effeminate. I'm not actually, okay. I'm getting a lot of emails.
I'm just your mom's hairdresser?
Yeah,
I'm not really in your family?
Didn't want any part of this. So, I haven't come out yet. I don't feel comfortable with it.
He probably, votes Trump or something. Yeah. It becomes clear that defending queer and trans rights is necessary to defend our very family itself. Did you know that Sam and I have an escape plan in the event of genocide in the USA? Truly. We watch Florida and Tennessee and Texas, and we know our 1930s histories. We have selected
No, you don't.
Maybe they should start with, the Weimar Republic and see how that looks. If your gay brothers were alive today, they'd agree 100%. Oh, sorry, I skipped a part.
By the way, a genocide is not...
killing gay people.
Right. It's ethnic.
Yeah. We have selected a Canadian city to flee to, discussed employment strategies and other administrative topics. Parents,
I bet you
have y'all ever discussed fleeing your homeland with your spouse? I'm guessing not. How fortunate you are.
Did he say parents?
Yeah. Richard and Bonnie, I speak to you directly now. You can be stubborn on this issue, or you can choose to support the family. The choice is yours. If your gay brothers were alive today, they'd agree 100% with my point of view. So the question posed is a yes-no one. Will you commit to not voting for the GOP ever again? All across the country, my trans and queer friends are hosting these same awful conversations with their families. No longer will we allow poisons to flow unopposed. Our love is massive.
Richard and Bonnie are laughing their asses off right now, saying, please let this loser go to Canada. But it's not
without conditions. Your unwavering support of LGBTQ plus peace is required. Love you, Ryan.
Plus, LGBTQ plus. So all of the other constituency groups,
and
all
anybody else that we come up with next year.
Exactly. And, in 2 years, it may be minor attracted persons might be in the plus.
Right.
So they have to write off right now a waiver saying, yes, we're going to let everybody in. Everybody in. We support everything that everybody here does, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Every part of it, including the removal of breasts. And we're all for it. Mm-hmm. Or else Ryan goes to Canada and to escape the genocide.
Right. Now he writes, update, 100% family agreement. Hold folks accountable, especially the ones you love, and do it with the passion you'd have for preventing a drunkard from driving. It's a public health and safety issue.
Well, hold on one second. 100% family agreement? You mean like Dad said?
Yeah. So Business Insider's now reporting. I spoke to CR Short, that's him, 81, and his dad about this viral ultimatum letter. The result, his dad left his local Republican club today.
Oh my God, you complete pussy. You were this close to getting rid of your dickhead son. Oh, you had the chance of a lifetime. Imagine somebody gives you an out like that. Ultimatum. Sayonara. Abiento, loser. Oh, my
I don't know how to
goodness.
turn on. I can't look at Business Insider because this has an ad blocker, and I don't know how to turn it off.
It's up in the right-hand corner. It's a little piece of a puzzle. No, it's not. It's something different.
Oh, it's Apple.
Disable.
I'm looking for it.
Alice is mad at the Mac.
I
You
don't
look
know
good
how
with
to
your
do
Mac,
it.
Alice.
I don't know how to do it on here. I don't know. I have a lot of
What's his name?
questions and concerns. His Twitter handle is CRShort81, and he links to the Business Insider article. So I can't get to that, but because of the Mac, so it's blocking the ads too well. I'm not allowed to see the article now.
Give me another keyword so I can find him.
That's his handle. What's the keyword?
LGBT.
Just do at CRShort81. I don't know.
On Twitter, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I was just trying to go to the Business Insider article.
His name is Ryan Short.
Okay. Ryan.
The article's called A Gay Man's Mass Email Went Viral. Telling his family to stop
There it
voting
is.
for Republicans. Yeah.
I have it in Business Insider.
Okay.
God. Gay man's email to his family asking them to stop voting for Republicans went viral this week. The email ultimately changed his dad's mind. Oh, Mr. Short, you had this kid gone finally. We were just having one of our random catch-ups, and he casually said, "I'm still Republican," Short told Insider. Short asked if he still supported the party despite the recent rhetoric against LGBTQ people. His dad said yes. Comment prompted Short to pen an email. He penned it on Wednesday to dozens of family members, asking them to stop voting for the GOP to support him and his other queer family members. Yada, yada, yada. Being 42 years old, self-described middle-aged, Short said he didn't want to waste any more time on things that aren't bringing light to my life. The safety and peace of me, my husband, and my community is baseline, non-negotiable, and unrelated to politics, Short wrote. To vote for the GOP is divide family. He said, he told Insider, the letter was a boundary, not a persuasion. It was not intended to persuade anyone. Ooh, I'm scared. I'm going to lose my pain in the ass, freaking cousin Ryan. Oh, my God. What an a-hole this kid is.
Plus, you know, like, people, his family will say, like, yeah, honey, I'm never going to vote Republican again, sure. But, like, they're going to do what they want at the end of the day, too. You don't go from being a lifelong Republican to doing that. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. The whole thing is stupid anyway. But this stuff, like, has real consequences. You know, the fact that they, like, are telling people that literal Nazis are, like, trying to kill trans people and stuff. You know, or, like, they're throwing around words like genocide. Like, they said that about Michael Knowles at CPAC because he said transgenderism should be eradicated from society. Transgenderism being the ideology that suggests that you can be, quote, like, born in the wrong body and you're actually the other sex, right? So, but the best example of this recently is this Charlie Kirk thing.
Can I just want to read one more thing that shows what a POS Ryan is first?
Okay.
Well, very quickly. The end of the Business Insider article says, not only did Richard Short agree to never vote Republican again, but he also resigned from the Republican club he belongs to in Collin County, Texas. He told Insider Thursday, "I was so worried that I had lost my son," Richard Short said. What a piece of crap that kid is, Ryan Short. Ryan Short, you suck. Feed yourself into a tree shredder, you piece of crap. In Canada.
So, but once again, like, all this stuff where they're like, oh, DeSantis made a bill to not say gay, and they're criminalizing homosexuality, and they're outlawing gay people, and there's going to be a genocide, and, you know, all this stuff. They're saying this stuff, and it actually has real world impact. So there was this, you know, Charlie Kirk event at UC Davis. And there was, like, all this protesting, and it got, like, kind of out of hand. And I mean, there's videos of it online. You know, we didn't get that into it because there's, like, one of these a minute with protesters at things. But, you know, they were, like, busting down doors, these protesters, to attack Charlie Kirk. And the reason they were coming after and attacking Charlie Kirk was because there was a big article in the Sacramento Bee saying that Charlie Kirk has called for the lynching of trans people, a comment that should warrant a cancellation of his speaking engagement at UC Davis. And the article is called "Another Fascist Speaker is Coming to UC Davis. How should the community respond?" So now they've deleted all this, including the entire article. But this is the correction that they issued. An earlier version of this column included a statement that Charlie Kirk had called for the lynching of trans people. The basis for this accusation is a video clip in which Kirk was upset that a trans woman had won an NCAA swimming championship. In the clip, Kirk said that instead of letting the woman compete, someone should have took care of it the way we used to take care of things in the 1950s and 60s. Some trans advocates on social media extrapolated from Kirk's comments that he called for trans people to be lynched. An accusation
that's what he meant by not saying that.
But a review of the video shows that Kirk never advocated for trans people to be lynched. In fact, he strongly denies the accusation. These notes have been added to the column. The Bee regrets its comments, and we apologize for any misunderstandings this earlier version may have caused. And the reporter put that claim in there, and that's never going to see the light of day with the people that are going around saying Charlie Kirk wants to lynch trans people. And Charlie Kirk's not even that big a social conservative. He's he's not like that. He's not Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles even, but they just make stuff up. Oh, trans genocide. Oh, lynching trans people. No one's lynching trans people. It's not a thing. You guys are the ones threatening to kill yourselves every 3 seconds unless everybody does exactly what you say as you attempt to tell us that you're not mentally ill at all. It's just, but that's where we are. And, where Dylan Mulvaney is out here acting like whatever and it being celebrated and all this stuff. And, people are acting like there's seriously some threat out there to trans people. Trans people have never been more celebrated and upheld and absolutely affirmed by everybody ever.
Normalize the bulge. We are normalizing the bulge. Women can have bulges and that's okay. We're not going to
This is Dylan Mulvaney, by the way.
While they're wearing their little shopping shorts at the mall. Oh, thank you. Love you.
We're normalizing the bulge.
What a time.
I know. And I mean, Dylan Mulvaney's now probably a millionaire or whatever for all this nonsense. And you're going to sit here and tell me that trans people are being so persecuted, the coming genocide. Oh, please spare me. And it has real consequences because they're going after, conservatives for saying stuff that they're absolutely not saying.
I need a palate cleanse, Alice.
You need a palate cleanse?
One of the themes of the show is that her character, Selena Meyer, is frustrated by the sometimes vague duties of the role. It's a high constitutional office, but it's not prescribed so much about what you're supposed to be doing. Does that ring true? What is the actual role on a daily basis as you have found it?
Well, I have the great privilege of serving with Joe Biden, who was president of the United States. Right. Exactly right.
Is that an applause line? Did they have to hit the applause sign?
They're still so excited that he's president.
For that?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. And was vice president, right?
Does that affect it? Does he understand what it's like to be a vice president?
He does. And he really is a true partner, and he understands the job. And remember, we came in during the height of the pandemic.
Yes.
And so much of the work was about, okay, we've got to cover a lot of bases, and let's figure out how between us we can do it. But he is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because there's only one person who sits behind that resolute desk. And the decisions that person has to make are the decisions that nobody else in the country can make. And he's an extraordinary leader.
So your job is what?
Really?
We still don't know.
That's an excellent answer. And
what's the job?
The question was, what is the job of the vice president? And your answer is part of the job, I'm guessing.
Well, my job is to do, for example, I'll tell you, I was recently in Munich at the Munich Security Conference. Yes. And the job there was to stand up, and as you know, most of my career I spent as a prosecutor, and I declared that we, the United States of America, believe that Russia has committed crimes against humanity.
Yes.
Oh.
What is the significance?
What a low bar people have set. Talk about like a soft misogyny. Oh, that's great. That's
Slay
great.
Queen.
Guys, let her get a basket. Let her get a basket. There you go. Zach sent me a message today because of Ryan.
Okay.
On Twitter, his name is Zach. Hi, Tom. I love your show. I listen all day at work. Today, 3:16, you read an email from a Ryan to his family. I'd like to offer a rebuttal to what he says. I'd love to call, but due to my work, I may get in trouble for calling in while on shift. You're more than welcome to read this on your show if you so wish. However, I'd like to remain anonymous. Well, I said your first name, but it's not, it's Jack. It's nothing that I said already.
Work, honey.
Sorry. Looks like you gotta get a new job. But here goes. I'm a 26-year-old gay male living in a very conservative area of Connecticut. I am relatively conservative myself, or at least that's what I am called when I offer any opinions that go against any of the narratives that the left bring. I work in, I'll just say law enforcement. This is, by the way, I've used a fake name. It's not really that name, so don't go after him.
Okay.
I work in law enforcement, a primarily conservative field. I don't scream that I am gay, but if someone were to ask, I have no problem saying so. I also have never faced anything but support from colleagues, family, and friends who are all conservative. The most hate I've ever faced are from leftists who, due to my sexuality, call me horrendous things like gay Uncle Tom, a moron who votes against his own interests, uneducated hick, and far worse, even the F word, which I believe is the one that rhymes with maggot. These include people who are in the so-called LGBT community. That's the hardest part for me to grasp, is that these people are actively hurting what they're trying to accomplish. Ryan has lived, in my opinion, with far more privilege than many people if he has the time to go after his family and friends over who they vote for. Does this ring a fascism bell? Conservatives don't care how you live. They just don't want one person's rights to supersede anyone else's. This is a brainwashing that starts early, and in my opinion, why they are pushing all of this LGBT nonsense on young children who are in their most formative years. It's disgusting, and while I am not ashamed of who I love, I am ashamed to be lumped in with the LGBT community as they do not represent me. They don't speak for me, and they don't support me. They don't support me because, quote, I'm just an idiot. So there you go.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling, the person who we're not going to name, this guy Z, I'll call him. Mm-hmm. And thanks, Zach, for that message. I get the feeling that's probably typical representation of where normal people, gay or straight, are.
Yeah, I would think so. I think most normal people, regardless of who they fall in love with, are, tend to think that, like, the drag queens around kids is a bit much. I mean, I think at least most normal people used to think that relatively not long ago, right? Wasn't that a fairly typical human position, was that drag queens don't belong around children?
Yeah, it used to be a thing. It's
yeah. So, I want to talk about this Ron DeSantis article quickly, and then I want to play a little game with you.
Nice. Ooh. This is a game where...
No.
Okay. What do you think I was going to say?
If it was a stripping game?
Yeah. Really? That's...
I know you.
Oh.
So, if you want to know how... the media and the left is feeling about Ron DeSantis, they're already in full, like, propping up Trump and attacking DeSantis mode. So the Daily Beast, for example, ran this whole piece today about how he's socially awkward, and it's called the GOP campaign trail is already getting DeSantis proofed. And then the subhead is Ron Demand. As he explores a run for president, the demanding Florida governor is already coming across as a nightmare in the early primary states. They just hope if they repeat stuff enough, they can make it true. They say he keeps to himself, that he doesn't like, shaking hands with people or being around normal human beings, which I've never seen any actual evidence of this. So the evidence that they offer for the fact that he's antisocial is that during a donor retreat, one attendee stood up and called him to Satan.
Right.
Which I don't see how that means he's antisocial. And at a recent book tour stop in Davenport, Iowa, a volunteer English teacher and seasoned caucus enthusiast posed for a photo alongside the governor with the term fascist carved out within her design of a paper snowflake. Ooh, got him. Somebody an English teacher called him a fascist. What's the point? But he's so well known that the early primary state players are working to DeSantis-proof their events in order to attract the flinty would-be candidate in his tight-knit team. They're saying that he has the least responsive campaign they've ever dealt with. I mean, of course, he's not officially even running yet. So when they say they're dealing with his campaign, they're dealing with whoever his political people are. He has some campaign stuff and PACs that can be transferred into a federal campaign at some point, but they're not yet. So during his Iowa swing, DeSantis's apparent use of bike racks to create space between himself and a crowd didn't go unnoticed. So, what's the point? They think he tried to put bike racks in between himself and a crowd of people. It's... I mean,
the whole thing is hilarious. The whole thing is hilarious.
Right.
It's all these knick-knack, a bubblegum observations and,
One GOP strategist who has no horse in the 2024 race compared DeSantis' approach to that of his potential general election opponent, Biden, arguing the governor has embraced a Tallahassee basement strategy, mirroring that of Biden in 2020, where he hides from the press and real voters. Seems to me he's on TV and in the media and in the newspapers and out with people a lot, and it seems to me that he's doing a lot of governing of his state a lot of the time. No?
He has not been on. He's selective in who he talks to, so he is not. He is more close to the vest on that. But then again, he hasn't announced yet. But I've pitched him a whole bunch of times. I get nothing. But even me, so.
Yeah. But several former staffers for the governor told the Daily Beast almost everything he does is scripted. Obviously former staffers, which coupled with an aversion to small talk, general pleasantries, and unplanned interactions with the public make him difficult to manage ahead of events. He has limited off-the-cuff interactions, etc. And they say that he has poor social skills, particularly his propensity to devour food during meetings. He would sit in meetings and eat in front of people. A former DeSantis staffer told the Daily Beast. Yeah, but sometimes when you're the boss of the meeting and you have stuff to do, you can eat in the meeting.
Right.
And people have to deal with it because you're the freaking governor of the state or whatever it is that you are, right? Sometimes the CEO is rushing around doing a lot of stuff and they eat in the meeting.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
And the other people suck it up.
I'm just an eating meeting hater, but it happens all the time.
He would sit in meetings and eat in front of people, a former DeSantis staffer told the Daily Beast, always like a starving animal who has never eaten before, getting stuff everywhere. Enshrined in DeSantis lore is an episode from 4 years ago. Enshrined in DeSantis lore meaning somebody just freaking made it up.
Right.
During a private plane trip from Tallahassee to Washington, D.C. in March of 2019, DeSantis enjoyed a chocolate pudding dessert by eating it with 3 of his fingers, according to 2 sources familiar with the incident. A representative for DeSantis' political team did not return a request for comment on it. Can you imagine that freaking email? So can you let us know how many fingers he used to eat his chocolate pudding on his plane ride from Tallahassee to D.C. in 2019? If it was just chocolate
pudding, they would have said that, Alice.
What do you mean, just chocolate pudding?
If it was just chocolate pudding, they would have said it was just pudding.
So you think he was eating scooping it with a cookie or something?
I think that it wasn't. There's more impact if you just say chocolate pudding. So they would have gone with that as the copy.
It says he ate a chocolate pudding dessert.
Correct. But it was a chocolate pudding dessert, which means there was a little bit more. It was something else happening. It was like a tiny pie or something happening. Not that I care either way, but they would have gone with pudding for effect if they knew they wouldn't be immediately shot down.
And just the imagery it creates of him like scooping chocolate pudding out of a pudding cup with his hand is like
it's not a good sign for Democrats that this is what they've got so far.
And the big scandal of the DeSantis campaign is that he ate chocolate pudding, which we don't even know if he did, first of all. And second of all, like, if he did, so what? Like, it's the Amy Klobuchar fork thing again.
Pudding. Well, that was a turn on. What's a hot
with
sauce
a comb,
house?
rather. Wait, we didn't play our game.
Oh, I want to play the game.
So this is a game. This is a fun activity that comes from a DEI training that a department took. So this is, you can do some like mental prep for your company's DEI trainings when you have to do these. The 12 persons listed below have been selected as passengers on a spaceship for a flight to another planet because tomorrow the planet Earth is doomed for destruction. Due to space limitations, it has now been determined that only 8 of the 12 persons may go. Any 8 qualify. Your task is to select the 8 passengers who will make the trip. Okay? So 8 out of 12 get to go. Are you ready to decide? You hold their lives and deaths in your hands.
All right.
An accountant with a substance abuse problem.
God. Do I know anything more about them? That's it? That's
Only
all I
what
know?
it gives us. You want to wait to hear a few more before you make any?
Yes. I need to pass.
A militant African-American medical student.
Lives.
Lives.
Survives.
A 33-year-old female Native American manager who does not
Lives.
speak English.
I'm there. Lives.
The accountant's pregnant wife.
Oh, pass.
Although it didn't say the accountant. These could be lesbian accountants. We don't want to assume the accountant is like a white man or something.
Next one.
Okay. A famous novelist with a physical disability.
Lives.
A 21-year-old female Muslim international student.
Absolutely sits in first class.
A Hispanic clergyman who is against homosexuality.
Ooh. Dies.
Do you want to know? I wish they would tell you if he's like white Hispanic or like Afro-Latinx or whatever.
She's white Hispanic because she's against homosexuality.
It says clergyman. That has to be men, doesn't it?
Well, I'm not sure.
I don't know. A female movie star who was recently the victim of a sexual assault.
Ooh. Lives.
A racist armed police officer who's been accused of using excessive force.
Is waterboarded, tortured, lynched, burned alive, and then ejected from the spaceship. It dies brutally. Rightfully so.
A gay male professional athlete, vegetarian.
Lives.
An Asian orphaned 12-year-old boy.
Excellent. Lives.
A 60-year-old Jewish university administrator.
That's a tough one. How old?
60. Jewish university administrator.
No, because where are we on Zionists?
Jewish people are white, right?
Right. And it could be a Zionist, and they're essentially enslaving the Palestinians, right?
I guess so, yeah.
So I think gotta die.
So
Is that all we
you
have
got
left?
rid of the racist police officer,
Yeah, obviously.
the Hispanic clergyman,
Obviously racist.
the 60-year-old Jewish university
Right.
administrator. You got to get rid of one more.
So I can do the pregnant wife of the accountant or the accountant. Mm-hmm. Who's got a drug problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume the pregnant wife of the accountant. Well, that means she's a breeder. But she could be doing it for, like, Pete and Chasten. So the accountant's got to go.
Okay.
Nothing personal. Dies.
Okay. Good work. I'm sure you passed the diversity
I like that
training
game,
now.
though.
It seems fun. Seems like a fun way to spend time at your company and not at all division creating in your job to
like
have
the
to
game.
do that together. Anyway. The Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline is brought to us by Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce, which is a delicious hot sauce. It has heat and flavor, both flavored with sea salt for lower sodium. You can even have it on a Weekend 180. And
You know what else? I consider you the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Wife.
Thank you. And they even donate 5% of the proceeds to the Fallen Fighter Fighters Foundation, so you can feel good in every way about getting Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. You can find it at Market Basket, Big Y, chelseafirehotsauce.com.
You ready?
Ready.
So here's a bombshell, big bombshell. You know, my gal pal Cody, we bet on the Super Bowl and all that jazz. I mentioned it a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she tells me that she shoots content, like adult themed content.
What?
And she's mulling over.
Wow.
And she asked me if I wanted to shoot some with her. So
Oh my God.
I like each of your advice.
Shooting adult content. I think you know this, Justin, but that's my opinion. I don't know, Tom, where are you? Should Justin shoot some adult content with Cody?
1, is she hot? 2, are you getting compensated? 3, what's the return on this? I mean, what's the risk reward? Is content, Justin, are you outfitted to be shooting content in a way that's going to be beneficial for you, or is it simply going to destroy any chance you have of anything ever? So I wouldn't shut it down, but I would need more information. Obviously, first of all, okay, this is what I would say. If I was your age, Justin, if I was your age, before I met Alice and fell in love and have a lovely family, etc., when I was just a young, feral young man, I would have probably, that's tough because we didn't have the internet, but I was highly pathetic. So I probably would have done anything any woman asked me to, if she was attractive. Almost anything. So.
Well, you didn't have the internet, but would you have made a sex tape? They had that back then.
No,
if a
because
girl
I'm
wanted to?
wretched, naked. There's nothing good. I lose everywhere. There's nothing.
Okay.
It's only bad shots of me if I'm in it.
Okay. But maybe when you were 20.
Don't strongly disagree or anything else.
Maybe when you were 20.
What do you mean? Compared to now? So you're saying you agree with me now?
Well, I mean pre-Awaken 180.
Oh, okay.
It's different now.
Justin, I'm going to need
Obviously.
more information from
Okay.
you, including a headshot, not of you, but of her.
Hi, Alice. It's Steve from Merrimack.
Hi, Steve.
I thought it was so funny today when Tom didn't know what snow blowing was. But you did. You were very quick to answer. Remember when we were freshmen at Tufts and the yacht buddy from Lexington needed a little fix?
Is that true?
Oh, I would get the message that said, Stevie, you bring the snow, I'll bring the... Oh!
Is that true?
No.
How much blow did you do at Tufts, Alice?
I've never done cocaine. True. I don't know.
That was a very interesting parsing of that question. And I have no further questions about that. Jesus, Alice.
Hi, Steve from
Hey,
Merrimack.
Steve.
I really want to compliment you two on the quality of the podcasts over the last couple days.
Thank you.
It's really something to listen to, a great sonic experience. It's not like, when Tom plays a sound cut, the sound cut is not pausing erratically and
That's
making
true. I've
snapping
noticed
sounds.
that too.
It's also not like the two of you have really stepped up the step-on game because
Yeah.
you're talking over each other more than ever.
That's Alice.
Of course, Alice is talking over you in between bouts of narcolepsy, like the final 15 minutes of yesterday's podcast.
Correct.
But it's also not like there are... you're stepping on Alice now with sound cuts. Alice was in the middle of a sentence, I believe, in today's show, and you started playing Bridge Over Troubled Water or some shit. And when you're not doing that, Alice is talking, and all of a sudden there are these blips of sound of God knows what you're doing. I mean, what are you, Dave Cullinane? You can't master the drop game? Anyway, Another satisfied customer. Thank you.
That is not my fault. First of all,
You're
yes.
so welcome, Steve.
Alice, want to
Anytime.
talk about bailing out yesterday?
2 days ago?
Was that 2 days ago?
I think so.
Was it really?
Yes.
God. You gotta get our lives together. Alice was salty at me for reasons we won't discuss, but for reasons which I believe I made reparations.
Yes, you admitted you were wrong.
And I took
And
action.
corrected the behavior.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Alice, I'm a chief people officer when
Yep.
it comes to making sure that you're satisfied and happy.
Thank you.
I made Alice upset because, to be fair and honest, any husband knows this. Any husband and any guy who's dealt with women, I was sharing copy that perhaps I should have let Alice vet.
Copy is words.
Not necessarily. It means the product. In radio, it means
It does.
yeah. It means so. And in podcasting and social media, it means other things. So
It does.
So there you go. So I don't know. When we all hang out somewhere, I'll just tell you guys everything. You'll get it. You'll be cool.
I'm in beautiful, beautiful French Lick, Indiana,
Ooh.
the home of a certain
Lawrence Tribe Bird. He's going to talk about.
NBA star, Larry Bird.
I only know that
We've
because of
been,
KMS.
Really?
Yeah.
You should know some stuff like that.
It's not stuff that I know.
All the little shops, the casino. My brother, one of my brothers, I've got 3 of them, was like generally like didn't know that you get free drinks at the casino, like soft drinks.
Soft
And
drinks.
he's a big coffee guy, so he got like 4 decaf coffees, and he was just amazed that they were all free. Having a blast.
Yeah.
That old Mother Road.
The old Mother Road.
Sounds fun, Justin.
I got to get back on the Mother Road. That was a
Good.
happier
I'm
time
glad.
for me.
Yeah, get into that.
Hi, Steve from Maryland.
All right,
Steve.
Steve.
I just wanted to leave a message regarding the whole Meg White controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think what I'm going to do is, first of all, I find her a perfectly serviceable drummer. I love that band.
Yeah.
And I don't get what all the fuss is about. But I'm actually going to write an essay in response to that guy about how, extolling Meg White as the greatest drummer of all time. And I'm going to title it White Supremacy.
Ooh.
Think it'll get published?
I love it.
And I've now found out, because I was reading about this week, I have learned more about the White Stripes than I ever knew or was interested in knowing. For one thing, I always thought they were brother and sister.
Oh, they're not?
They're not, but they were pretending to be, which is why I thought that. They were married.
No!
Yes, and he took her name. Her name was Meg White, and he was Jack Gillis and took her name.
You are kidding me.
But they actually divorced in 2000. They were only married for 4 years, and they kept the band going until 2007. They still did stuff together until then. So anyway, he went out on social media and defended her and said she was great as a drummer. As I'm seeing everybody's takes on this and all the music takes, it seems to me the argument people are making is she was great in their band and she's a great drummer, but she's not one of these people who's the Who guy?
Oh God.
Who's whatever. Who's
no, we can't
Moon?
get over this. Keith Moon, yes.
Yeah.
So it was,
who's a talent, a super talented
I
technical drummer.
didn't love him, but yeah.
Well, but I don't know.
A lot of fills made me nervous.
But I
Long
guess
fills.
I don't know anything about this or about drumming, but this is my impression from reading people's music people's takes on this, as they're all arguing about it on Twitter, is that she's not some super technically gifted drummer who's a drumming talent the way Jimi Hendrix is a guitar talent.
Right.
That she's a
like
fine
a Ringo
drummer.
or a Charlie Watts.
Right. That she's a totally fine drummer, and her level of drumming worked great in the band, and her style worked great in the band, and it was
they weren't brother and
a
sister.
great
I
chemistry.
can't believe
I
this.
know. Who knew that, right?
What else is going on? We have to talk later about the Little Feather too.
Oh, right. But yeah, so I mean, like, which it seems to me that both things can be true.
Yes.
That somebody can, and I don't understand why Jack White is having to weigh in on it to say that she's great. Like, why did this even reach this level? Because somebody on Twitter said she's a bad drummer. Like,
well, why not? You can get into the news cycle by being chivalrous.
I mean, it just seems like insane behavior by everybody like that. I don't know. And who cares what people on Twitter, like, if you're a Meg White, like, who cares what people on Twitter think about your drumming? Like, you're a freaking millionaire who can sit at home and enjoy all your money that you made from being a drummer in a great band. And and he's like, I'm so sorry. This must have really hurt Meg White. Like, anyway, I hope she's not bothered by it because I sure wouldn't be. But, you know, Meg, enjoy your millions and don't worry what Lachlan Markey says about you on Twitter. Anyway, you can say what you want about me on Twitter, I guess, and that's at Burn Barrel Pod. You can also, if you like us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/burnbarrel. But if you don't, or if you're
subtle
cheap,
lash out there, Alice.
What?
You can say what you like about me on Twitter, I guess. What was that?
Oh, you can. How's
that
a lash out?
I sensed a little venom there.
It's not like venom. I don't know. I just I don't get how people care that much.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I don't get how people care that much, on Meg White's behalf. Can you imagine being on social media and be like, delete this. This is so hurtful to Meg White. I don't understand it. Anyway.
Sorry.
So if you don't like the show, or if you're just cheap, which is cool too, I'm cheap, then you can always find the show free at burnbarrelpodcast.com.
I don't know what this is happening now. Jesus.